Selling your home in 30 days has almost nothing to do with luck, timing, or the market. After more than 1,000 home sales on this coast, I found that almost every fast sale can be traced back to the same 4 decisions. And if you get even one of them wrong, your home can sit for months while buyers wait for you to blink. I've watched sellers with gorgeous homes on the right streets wait 3 months for an offer. Same town and same market, and sometimes the same block as a house that went under contract in just 10 days. The difference was never the location, and it was never the timing. It was what they did before the listing went live. Your buyer isn't down the road. Your buyer is sitting in Bethesda right now on the couch and scrolling through Zillow on a Sunday night. They've been doing it for 6 months. They know what sold in Lewis last spring. They know what's been sitting on the market in Rehoboth and why. And they probably know your price per square foot better than half the agents in this county. When your home pops up on the phone, you get one shot, maybe a week. That's the entire window. Miss it and you don't wait just longer, you start to bleed. 40 grand, 60, I've seen 100,000 walk out the door. Not because the house wasn't worth it, because of decisions the seller made or didn't make in the days before it ever went live. I'm going to walk you through all 4 decisions and the 2 things that almost everybody wastes their time on that don't move the needle at all. Let me walk you through exactly what happens when a seller calls me and says they need to move in 30 days. Well, most agents in that situation start negotiating with the seller on the price immediately. They might get aggressive, ask you to lower it fast, and take whatever comes. Well, that's the wrong move. That's panic disguised as strategy. The first thing that I do is I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Could someone write an offer on this home today? What would make a buyer hesitate in the first 30 seconds? Does the home sell a lifestyle or just a floor plan? Is the seller emotionally ready to let this house become a product? And are we going to launch with momentum or hope the market that gives it to us? Those questions tell me more about whether we're going to close in 30 days than any other comp analysis. Because the biggest delays I've seen in this market have nothing to do with price. They have to do with the friction, something in the home or something in the seller's head that slows the buyer down. The first 5 days before launch are the ones that matter the most. That's when I'm looking at price reality, the first impression, the light, the flow, the sense, and the mindset. Not the renovations, not the countertops, not the 3 weeks that it took the seller to do some improvements. And because it's the seller who moves fast are the ones who understand this. A good listing does not wander onto the market, it arrives. I've sold homes at $6 million on the coast, and I've sold homes at $300,000. The principle is the same at every price point. Launch before you're ready, and you're gonna burn the window. Launch ready, and the market will reward you. I'm Andy Staten, and I've closed over 1,000 homes, primarily in Coastal Delaware. And I've sold entry-level properties, and I've sold oceanfront homes above $6 million. The dynamics I'm about to walk you through apply at every price point in every single market. And here's what this video covers. 4 decisions that determine whether your home sells in 30 days or sits for 90. A pricing framework built on how buyers actually behave and not national averages or Zillow or not what your neighbor thinks. And the one mistake I see sellers make over and over again that costs them more than any other single factor. Stay for the 3rd section. Most agents won't say it directly, but I will. The buyers in your market are not casual. Whether they're coming from an hour away or 3 states over, the serious ones have been tracking the listing of Zillow for 6 months, and sometimes up to 2 years before they ever contact an agent. By the time your home hits the market, they already know what sold on your street last spring. They know the price per square foot, they know which home sat and why, and these are financially sophisticated people. That serious buyer at your price point has probably done more research on your neighborhood than your listing agent has. That's why the first 14 days are everything. When a new listing hits, those buyers, they respond immediately if the home is priced right and presented right. If it's not, they're not going to engage. They're going to wait. They assume the seller is testing, and they'll come back after the price drop with a lower offer and the leverage that comes with 45 days on the market. And that window is real. It opens when you list and it closes on day 14. Everything that we do before launch is designed around one question. Is this home ready to convert to buyers who are watching? Well, most sellers don't ask that question. They ask, what do I get for this house? Well, those are two very different starting points, and they lead to two different outcomes. Quick note here, I put two things in the description for this video that are worth your time. The first, it's a seller's guide that I've used with clients for over 20 years. It covers pricing and prep, timing, and what to expect from launch through closing. And the second is, it's a free home evaluation tool that gives you a real baseline for what comparable homes in your area have actually closed at. Not a Zillow estimate, but actual closed transactions. Both are in the description. There's no form and no pitch, it's just information. Presentation is not renovation. The second decision is one sellers consistently get wrong, and it costs them 2 to 3 weeks of prep time that they don't have. Presentation doesn't mean renovation. It does not mean new countertops. It does not mean repainting the kitchen cabinets. By the time you finish a 3-week renovation and list, you've spent money the buyer will not reimburse for you, and you have burned time that you needed. What presentation actually means is removal. We remove the clutter, remove the personal details, remove anything that makes a buyer feel like they're walking into someone else's life instead of their next chapter. And the buyers at $800,000 or 1.2 or even 2 million are not buying square footage, they're buying a life they can picture. They've been to the Hamptons. They've looked at properties in Palm Beach. They know what a home that is ready to sell feels like the moment they walk in, and they know immediately when it isn't. There's a distinction I use with every seller. Is this home for sale or is this home being offered? A home for sale, it's ready. The layout makes sense for how people actually use it. The seller has mentally moved on. Well, the home tells a story about the buyer's next chapter and not the seller's last one. When a home is being offered, when the seller's still emotionally in it, when the personal details are still everywhere, when it feels guarded, buyers feel it. They don't know how to name it, they just know the house doesn't feel ready. And a house that doesn't feel ready doesn't sell fast. The mindset shift I ask every seller to make, your home is no longer your home. It's a product. And your job is to make it the most compelling product in its price range right now. The honest pricing conversation. This is one most agents won't say to your face, so I will. If you have 30 days to sell, you cannot price to your hopes. You have to price to what the market is actually doing. I know where sellers anchor that price. I've watched it 1,000 times. You anchor what you paid. You anchor what your neighbor listed at. And note, I said listed, not sold. And you anchor to your Zillow estimate. And I need to be direct about Zillow. It's a data aggregator running an algorithm. It is not a comp analysis. It is not an appraisal. It is not what a qualified buyer from DC is going to put in an offer on your home. Because here's what the data shows in this market. Overpriced listings sell for more than 10% below market value and sit 3 times longer than correctly priced home. The let's try it high and see strategy doesn't just cost you time, it costs you money. Almost always more than the difference between what you wanted and what the market was telling you from day one. And there's a psychological reason this keeps happening. Sellers anchor to what they originally paid. It's called loss aversion. The pull toward not losing on your original investment is often stronger than the pull towards gaining. So sellers price to protect the past instead of thinking about what the present is. But buyers do not care what they paid. They care about what your home is worth compared to what else they can buy right now. And that comparison is happening whether you participate in it or not. The sellers who move in 30 days price honestly on day one. They don't test it, they don't anchor to the past, they look at what actually closed and not what listed, what closed in the last 60 days, and they position the home to win in that field. Pricing right from launch is not leaving money on the table, it is how you protect the outcome. Decision 4, the right agent for this market. The fourth decision is the one that makes the first 3 executable. Every real estate market has its own logic. Buyer composition, seasonality, price distribution, feeder markets, days on market patterns. These vary dramatically from one market to the next, and even with a single metropolitan area. But general experience does not equal market knowledge. What you need is someone who can tell you, without looking anything up, what closed on your street in the last 6 months, what the buyer for your price range looks like, where they're coming from, and what makes a home at your price point compelling versus forgettable. The 30-day sale is not just about listing, it is about marketing to the specific buyer who's already watching your market, positioning the home in the window that they're looking through, and then negotiating with the leverage that comes from being fully prepared before you list it, not reactive after you did. Who you hire for that is a decision that affects every other decision on this list. I've been on both sides of this conversation more times than I can count. Sellers who did everything right and walked away with an outcome better than they planned, and sellers who had better homes, better locations, better timing, still left money behind because they went into the market with the wrong price or the wrong presentation or the wrong partner. The difference between those two outcomes is almost never the market. It's almost always the decisions made before the listing went live. The market does not reward sellers who hope. It rewards sellers who prepare. If you're thinking about selling, the seller's guide and the home evaluation tool are in the description. Start there, both are free, and if you want to talk through your specific situation, reach out directly. The buyer form and seller form are in the description as well. If selling is on your radar this year, there's one more video on this channel you should watch before you talk to anyone. It covers the mistake that costs sellers the most money in this market, and most agents never bring it up. It's right there on the screen.